Hi, I'm Carrie Leary, and I'm the Connections Director at Colonial OP Campus, and I am hosting your devotion today. And when I think about Advent, I think back to how my family celebrated Christmas. And one of the most memorable or impactful things I remember is that my grandparents at their house didn't have a Christmas tree up. They would never put a Christmas tree up because my granddad said he didn't want anything to take away from the glory of Christ and his birth and what that meant to the world. And so while my family doesn't follow that tradition specifically, it has impacted our lives and our traditions together. And one thing we do is we put a lot of nativities up. We decorate our Christmas tree with ornaments that reflect the nativity, and we focus primarily on the nativity throughout the season and the journey towards Christmas through Advent. One of the most effective things that we've ever used with our children when they were little was the just simple play school nativity that has all the little people, literally the little people. And we just felt it was important that our kids had something they could play with. It wasn't just a fancy nativity sitting up, off on a shelf that they weren't allowed to touch and one more thing they were told no about. But we really wanted them to be able to get involved and imagine the scene and just kind of take it home from there. And as they got older and we started celebrating Advent more, one of the most effective ways we did that was with the Jesus Storybook Bible, which is one of my favorite tools just as a parent. And if you go through the Jesus Storybook Bible and you start on the first night of Advent, roughly, and you read one story a night throughout the month of December, you take that same journey to the cross, because it doesn't just stop at the manger scene and the wise men. It goes on and talks about Jesus' life, and it talks about the resurrection, and just basically, even the stories in the Old Testament, all are pointing to Jesus in a way that even growing up in the church and with a really faithful-based family, I didn't have that experience of just knowing why all the Bible stories were tied together. And so one thing we do is we do read the Advent schedule of the Jesus Storybook Bible. Even now with our kids, we're going to do it again this year. We do other things for Advent just off and on, but none of them are more important to me or more meaningful than starting at the very beginning when God already knew that he was going to send Christ and he already knew that he was going to sacrifice his life, and then just point throughout the whole season towards that as we celebrate Christmas.